In my last Thought of the Day video, I shared some thoughts from a good friend of mine that ever since I've moved away from the Palouse, we share letters back and forth and talk about random things here and there. And I've saved some of his letters, my good friend Davin, because I think that there's some things that he'll talk about or he'll bring up that I think just serve as really provocative. They're like the perfect little nugget for a thought of the day. And so I pulled out, I've got one more of those letters that I had saved. And there was, I guess my neighbor's dog is outside, so sorry for all the barking. Hopefully that doesn't bother us too much. We were having this conversation about the Bible. And my friend was talking about, there are a couple different ways that it seems like we interact with the Bible. We talk about the Bible, we think about the Bible. You know me, I'm a big Bible guy. Everything I do is about the Bible. I got a whole podcast, a whole content ministry surrounding the Bible. The Bible is what I do. And yet Davin was saying, I feel like sometimes we talk about the Bible either as a destination and a guide. That makes sense. Probably hear that and you're like, yeah, sure. It's both, maybe. But I loved his thoughts about destination because he was really challenging whether or not the Bible as destination is the right way to understand it. He actually drew a couple pictures. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it, but he drew a couple pictures in his letter. He says the Bible. And the first picture over here is just a picture of, there's a sign and the sign just says God, right? So this is the Bible as destination. Here's the Bible, and it's just telling you about God. It's just telling you God, right? That's Bible as destination. But then there's this other picture that he draws where the Bible is more of a sign with it's an arrow, it's a directional sign. It doesn't just say God on it, it says God this way. And there are ways you could critique this line of thinking, I'm sure, but I thought it was a great, like what the Bible's trying to do is this ancient story, inspired story, authoritative story. I have no problem with these ideas, infallible, all that kind of stuff. It's this beautiful story that's saying we've encountered God. And one of the ways that I've always said it is the Bible is trying to teach us not what to think, but how to think. I see that in these two pictures that Davin's written. The Bible's not trying to just tell us what to think. It's not just saying, here's God. The Bible's trying to teach us how to think. It's saying God, you'll find God this way. Go that way and you'll find God. And I thought that was really good. His note here actually says, these pictures represent the Bible as both a destination and a guide to it, a guide to a destination. At some point, he goes on to talk about how he'll write some more about that. But I thought that was really good. In my book, I actually wrote about the Bible being a guide, but also our need to have guides as we interact with the Bible so that we understand this very thing that we're discussing. I love the word guide. I think it was our last video with Peter, my friend Peter. We talked about the idea of guides rather than heroes. Maybe there's a theme that I didn't even necessarily think about or prepare for there, but I love that idea as challenging this concept of the Bible as destination with this concept of the Bible as a directional guide to the destination. Sometimes we talk about bibliolatry, where we mistake the Bible for the God of the Bible. In the opening chapter of my book, I said, I don't worship the Bible, I worship God. We worship God, not the Bible, is my direct quote. Like we have a relationship, and it's not with a book. The book is something that points us as inspired, as authoritative, as rock solid as it may be for many of us. It points us towards something that is the point. It itself is not the point, the destination, the God. Jesus told the Pharisees, you search the scriptures diligently, yet the whole time those scriptures point to me. You can be so enamored with the Bible as destination that you can actually miss the person that the Bible is pointing you towards the whole time. I love that. I love that. But Davin went on in one of his later letters. He gave me permission to share some of this stuff, so I wanted to. He went on with the same line of thinking in a later letter. He did do some more writing about it. And at some point he starts talking about the parable of the man who finds the treasure in the field. And he says this. He says, the Christianity I've witnessed seems to be an awful lot like one of the people in town telling another person, yeah, I believe there's a treasure in the field, and I'm selling everything I have to buy it, and you should too. But meanwhile, no one is selling more than one thing a month, and none of the stuff they sell is worth much. So it's going to take like 20 years to actually get all the money together. When someone like that tells me there's a treasure in a field, I don't believe them, because their lives tell me that they don't believe there's a treasure in the field. The common denominator among these townsfolk is that none of them have touched, tasted, smelled, seen, or felt any treasure at all. They're all relying on someone else who's sensing it. And oftentimes it seems like the Bible can become a treasure substitute. That destination rather than the sign. Where we get a fix from reading about people having God experiences. We're assured by Bible characters that there really is a treasure, and so we believe there is a treasure, but none of us are actually doing the hard work of giving up everything we love for the treasure, because no one has ever directly experienced the treasure. And you and I both know that the world we live in is directly opposed to people experiencing this treasure. We have distractions and other endeavors out the yin-yang. We have experts telling us there's no treasure. We have people who have supposedly found the treasure who say nothing there but a couple $100 bills. We have people who say the treasure is only for certain groups. You know the drill, it goes on and on. I'm not worthy of the treasure. God would give other people a treasure, but not me. And I loved that follow-up thought. Because not only is the Bible not the destination, it's the guide pointing us towards the destination. Not only is the Bible not God, it's the thing that's telling us about and pointing us towards God. If we spent our whole time reading the map, but never actually going on the journey, if we spent the whole time reading all about it, but never getting to know the God behind the pages, it'd be a tragedy. It would be like knowing there's a treasure in the field, but never actually experiencing the treasure at all. So my thought of the day, thanks Davin, would be that we would challenge ourselves about what we really believe. And if we are people, like I can often be, that are content to do a little Bible study, talk about a chiasm or two, do a little Jewish historical context, and feel pretty good, maybe we would challenge ourselves about whether or not I ever tasted a treasure at all. Did I ever shake hands with the person that was behind all of that study in the first place? Did I ever actually have an experience with the God that changes everything? It's my thought of the day. Hope your day is as beautiful as mine is today. We'll look forward to the next thought of the day. Who knows what will. I think I'm out of my treasure trove in the archives. I'll have to find something else to talk about. We'll see where we go next. See you then.